Every story has its hero, the protagonist, the person the audience gravitates to and wants to succeed in their own personal goals. In professional wrestling, it's no different. One of the more engaging types of heroic tales is the quest, a character that embarks on a journey to obtain an object meaningful to them. On April 2nd, 2022, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes made a triumphant return to WWE at WrestleMania 38. 2 days later, on an episode of Monday Night Raw, a returning Rhodes made his quest clear: win the title that his father never could, the WWE Championship. After his first failed attempt against Roman Reigns at the next year's WrestleMania, the wheels were set in motion for Cody Rhodes to build himself back up to earn a chance to accomplish the goal he set out to do since returning to WWE. However, it wouldn't be a quest without some roadblocks. The biggest one being a presence that not only fans didn't expect, but Cody Rhodes didn't expect either. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the biggest and notable stars not only in WWE, but in Hollywood as well. The Rock's in-ring career was somewhat of a mystery during this time period. During his WrestleMania 29 match against John Cena, Johnson tore his abdominal and adductor tendons from his pelvis, which he had to have surgically reattached weeks later, along with triple hernia surgery. This caused delays to his film 2014's Hercules. The production company, Paramount, millions of dollars were cost due to this setback. And because of this, Hollywood pressured Johnson to stop wrestling, as it may not only damage his movie career, but production costs if he were to have another injury as severe as that one. The next couple of years, The Rock and WWE were a plethora of cameos, with the only match in that time being a 3-second win over Eric Rowan at WrestleMania 32 in 2016. One of the more notable cameos was The Rock saving his cousin, Roman Reigns, in the 2015 Royal Rumble. As the wrestling fandom usually does, discussion of a potential Rock vs. Roman Reigns match became a hot topic over the years when Reigns was a bigger star. As far as publicly, a potential match was the furthest thing from happening. During an appearance on Kelly and Ryan in 2019, The Rock confirmed that he quietly retired from professional wrestling. "I quietly retired from wrestling because I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish," stated Johnson. With that one statement, the blockbuster match between both family members was seemingly off the table. However, Roman Reigns became the head of one. By 2020, Roman Reigns did what many fans thought would never happen: turn heel. Become the ultimate villain in WWE after years of WWE trying to present him as their top hero, with mixed results and reactions from the fan base. With his cousins, the Usos, by his side as a part of the bloodline, Roman Reigns' villainy caused a strangle-like grip on the WWE roster. Referring to himself as the head of the table of his family and the tribal chief, Reigns was gaining more momentum. So much so, a potential Rock match seemed to be within reach in everyone's opinion. Everyone except The Rock. Speaking to comicbook.com in 2021, The Rock didn't count out an in-ring return. "There might be another match down the road," he stated. "It would have to make sense." However, a follow-up interview with Dish Nation put down on an immediate match with the tribal chief at WrestleMania 38. "I can tell you that there is no truth to that right now. Possibly down the road, we will see. We stay very close, myself and Roman Reigns. I'm very happy, I'm very proud for the work that he's doing, as well as the Usos, my other family members. Those guys will continue to do what they're doing, and we'll see down the road." Roman Reigns continued his dominant run all the way to the main event of WrestleMania 38, where he defeated Brock Lesnar on the night 2 of the Showcase of the Immortals, unifying the WWE and Universal Championships as a result. Former host of WWE's The Bump, Matt Camp, explains the commotion of a certain Great One allegedly waiting in the wings after Reigns' historic victory. "I was told by multiple people that Rock may have pulled up to the building in Dallas on that night. There was some kind of white SUV. There was some kind of commotion. I know Vince came out of Gorilla backstage, which does not typically happen during the show. There's a decent amount of people that believe Rock was there and something happened. I know Roman got banged up in that match. I also know that production was not going to do a backhaul. Now, a backhaul, for those who don't know that term, is what they put at the end of pay-per-views. That was like that 4-minute video package that Unreal production team would have to throw together for all of the highlights from the show, and they put it right at the end. Wasn't supposed to happen for a reason. As we know, there was no Rock appearance. During WrestleMania 38, the next year's show was confirmed to be taking place in Hollywood, in many ways the backyard of The Rock due to his history in the city. Despite denying any match for the foreseeable future, this was too perfect of a location for The Rock to have his grand return match for an ultimate showdown with his family, his blood, Roman Reigns. Even teasing the match in the sitcom Young Rock about a future WrestleMania match between the two. Except, it wasn't meant to be. WWE continued to move forward, including a merger with Endeavor headed by Ari Emanuel on September 13, 2023. 2 days later, The Rock appeared on an edition of the Pat McAfee Show that took place at College Game Day in Colorado, where he claimed that the dream match was close to happening at WrestleMania 39. That was locked. We were doing it. The beginning of 2022, Nick Khan, very good friend, very instrumental in bringing Vince and I together. We flew to LA, we met, we sat, we started talking about a potential of what this match could be between myself, Roman Reigns headlining WrestleMania at SoFi. We shook hands and hugged right there, all three of us at the table, and said, let's do this. Then we had a year to really think about this. So the North Star was, let's not do something good, let's not do something great, let's do something unprecedented. And it was, what can we create for the fans that's never been done before? A match? Great. Roman, incredible athlete. He's going to be on the Mount Rushmore. We could have the match, but the bigger thought was, what can we do for the fans and the business that we love, where WrestleMania isn't the end of something, it's the beginning of something bigger. So we got really close, but we couldn't actually nail what that thing was. So we decided to put our pencils down, and then we agreed, hey, listen, there's a merger coming up, eventually that will happen. There's WrestleMania in Philadelphia. I'm open, but let's figure out what that is, because the fans deserve something just incredible and unprecedented. Not only that, but I want to deliver to the locker room and the boys and the girls back there. What can we do to put them in a position where they're a part of something that is a new change and era in this world of pro wrestling? With The Rock out of the WrestleMania 39 main event, who would Roman Reigns' opponent be? Enter Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare won the 2023 Royal Rumble, earning him a shot at Roman Reigns and the championship he or his dad never won at WrestleMania. Despite the nicknames, Cody Rhodes wasn't a nightmare of a choice for WWE. Coming off a torn pectoral muscle, Cody Rhodes' heroic comeback took WWE by storm. Monster reaction, merchandise sales, a babyface that was universally loved by the audience at large. However, the fan support and audience expecting a Rhodes win was left stunned, as Rhodes lost due to Roman Reigns' cousin and Bloodline member Solo Sikoa's interference. Cody Rhodes spoke with Inside the Ropes to get his thought process on the aftermath. Leaving WrestleMania 39 without the title, that might have been the most false "I'm not concerned" that I ever gave, because of the amount of time the fans may stick with you. You never know and can't take it for granted. I had a lot of really good people around me to put in my mind that, hey, the champion is not going to be around as much as you are. You will need to be their guy. You will need to be their champion. This will need to be your team, and I have a lot of people encourage me in terms of keeping an eye on those metrics. How'd you do here? How'd you do there? It went from a false "I'm not concerned" to I really did own up to the ideas of, hey, okay, I will do all I can do to be the lead dog in WWE's most prolific era without being champion. I think we accomplished that. The grandson of a plumber continued to be the champion without being the champion, going from live event to live event, gaining fan support for an eventual Roman Reigns rematch. As Rhodes was making towns, a seed in a potential shift to the WrestleMania 40's main event was happening. The day after WrestleMania 39, Brian Gewirtz, VP of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's production company 7 Bucks Entertainment and former WWE head writer, were called on Busted Open Radio calling a member of the WWE creative team about the proposed plans for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I called my friend on the WWE creative team, and I just said, hey, just so you know, I've been talking with Rock. There's a good chance that Rock and Roman might be a possibility for WrestleMania 40. This is a year before. What are you guys planning for WrestleMania 40? This was after WrestleMania 39, the day after, so Cody lost. The idea is to give him a solid year to go through many trials and tribulations, starting with Brock, and then doing the rematch at WrestleMania 40. I said, okay, great. Well, this might exist, just so you know, just letting you know. You don't need to change anything because who knows? A year in advance, so many things can happen. But just know in the back of your mind that he's thinking about it. And the attitude was not just between me and the writer, but within the inner circle. That's great, we're going to do our thing, you do your thing, let us know on your end, and if it gets to it, it's a great problem to have. One storyline, great built WrestleMania, and this dream match that's been talked about for a while. During the lead-up, The Rock's appearance at College Game Day, Brian Gewirtz called one of his friends employed by WWE, who coincidentally was in Denver for that night's WWE SmackDown show. Gewirtz told Rock, Rock called Nick Khan, and before you know it, The Rock was given a segment on that night's episode of SmackDown. After the segment, The Rock posted on X about the gratitude about his positive reaction, and it felt like it was the top 5 reaction of his entire career. Gewirtz recalls Rock getting that urge to perform after this segment. I think kinda a little bit of a rush when you're performing like that, and you hear the audience and you kinda get back in your mindset. I think The Rock was looking to see if it was a possibility for over a year. I think the Denver show kinda got the juices flowing. I think schedules started getting rearranged, business side stuff with TKO, and everything was coming into focus. And it started in the fall looking more and more like a possibility. As The Rock and company were planning for a possible match, the appearance at College Game Day enhanced with his SmackDown appearance. The fandom was abuzz with Rock vs. Roman seemingly a possibility. Confronted with the possibility of not finishing his story at WrestleMania 40 shortly after The Rock's appearance, Cody Rhodes had this to say at the WWE Fastlane 2023 press conference. In regards to everything I do, what's in my mind, what I came back to do, the story specifically, not flinching. And there's a lot of reasons to flinch. I'm aware of everything that's going around, but I'm also aware when I go out there. So, not flinching. Rhodes' confidence in not only himself, but the audience was clear. The October 13th, 2023 edition of SmackDown featured a stare-down between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, hinting at a rematch between the two. The rumors of The Rock still swirled, however. Paul Triple H Levesque, the chief content officer of WWE, disclosed during the documentary WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain, was heading the story between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, with the rematch being set in stone after the first one happened. When we get to WrestleMania 40 with Cody Rhodes vs. Roman Reigns, we had that story and that match planned out, but there was another story, a blockbuster story. We've been talking about it for years. It was just a matter of finding the right opportunity in which to tell it. Roman Reigns and The Rock. Both stories were running concurrently with each other. Cody Rhodes' story playing out on television while The Rock's story was being played out behind the scenes. The next phase of the development happened on January 1st, Day 1 edition of WWE Raw in San Diego, where The Rock wanted to test the waters on the crowd's interest to a match with Roman Reigns. Where he asked the crowd if he should get something to eat, would he sit at the bar, sit at the booth, or at the head of the table. Brian Gewirtz recalls how The Rock came up with that line. It was super late into our meeting in San Diego at the hotel, because as we were talking about Cody, it was said, what, I hear you, maybe we should do a little test polling of the audience, not only in San Diego, but all over the world. What if I kind of teased it without saying it directly? We brainstormed on how to do that, he did it, as you saw the place went nuts, online went nuts, and maybe nuts is different degrees of nuts in terms of if you're a diehard Cody fan, you might go, hey, wait a second, what's he talking about here? but for the most part, it was overwhelmingly positive when he teased the head of the table. You can make an argument, is that bigger than Cody Roman from an outside of our world standpoint, Triple H recalled. You certainly can if you think bigger picture, that certainly could be. The test poll had one fatal flaw, however. It was only to gauge to test the interest of Rock Roman as a match, but not at the expense of Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. The belief among many fans was Cody Roman 2 was still the direction despite the tease The Rock made due to the vagueness of when exactly The Rock would challenge Roman. As Cody Rhodes was gaining momentum into the Royal Rumble as the frontrunner to win and earn another shot at Roman Reigns, on January 23, 2024, an announcement shook WWE by its core, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was joining the TKO board of directors along with the full ownership of his name, The Rock. Being on the TKO board of directors and taking full ownership of my name, The Rock, is not only unprecedented, but incredibly inspiring as my crazy life is coming full circle, Johnson said in a statement. I am very motivated to help continue to globally expand our TKO, WWE, and UFC businesses as the worldwide leaders in sports and entertainment while proudly representing so many phenomenal athletes and performers who show up every day putting in the hard work with their own two hands to make their dreams come true and deliver for our audiences. I've been there, I'm still there, and this is for them. As The Rock was now a part of the company that owns WWE, plans were set in motion for the Rock-Roman matchup. We were locked in, Brian Gewirtz recalls. He did the TKO announcement, he went to WWE HQ, I have what ended up being 96 pages of merch and t-shirt and title belt design ideas from creative services. It was pretty much locked in at that point. 4 days later, after TKO's announcement of The Rock joining the board, WWE presented the Royal Rumble. In the ultimate good news, bad news scenario, Cody Rhodes was told he would win the Royal Rumble for the second year in a row. However, Rock vs. Roman was practically set in stone. I sat with Cody at the Royal Rumble in the afternoon and told him, Triple H recalls. It was becoming more of a reality that the match with Roman and Rock could take place at WrestleMania, and I don't think anyone knew a thing outside of Cody. And I'm sure that was a brutal day. Winning the Royal Rumble guarantees the winner a world title shot at WrestleMania. The two options, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, already had their prospective challengers penciled in. CM Punk for Seth Rollins, and The Rock for Roman Reigns. So the logic of Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble would cause conflict from a storytelling perspective if he wasn't getting a championship match. The idea of Cody winning the Royal Rumble I thought was problematic, Gewirtz recalled. I said in San Diego in that meeting that the cleanest thing to do if you're booking Rock and Roman is to have Punk win the Rumble and challenge Rollins just because there's a difference storyline-wise, in my opinion, of Cody wanting to finish the story and having earned the right to finish the story by winning the Royal Rumble. Once you win the Rumble, that dynamic changes. But Cody winning the Rumble changes the dynamic completely to, yeah, we want things, but now he's got it, and why would he do anything other than focus on Roman? And that's what he naturally did when pointed to him. Why wouldn't he? That's naturally what that character would do. Paul Levesque had a different opinion. My gut was that if Cody fails here, that damages him. We got to have him win the Rumble. We got to see what the reaction is and then go from there. Obviously, his next question is, where does that leave me? I'm not sure yet. So that's on me to figure out because this is all happening in real time. We're going to see what the reaction is. The Monday Night Raw after winning the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes cut an emotional promo on how the fans helped him. The last 48 hours of my life have been rather challenging. Everything is good, all is well. But on Saturday, you'll never know how much I needed you. While the audience didn't know at the time, Cody Rhodes was referring to the plan shifting to the Rock vs. Roman match. So where would that lead Cody Rhodes? The initial idea, Brian Gewirtz claimed, would have not been satisfactory for Cody Rhodes fans. I can say this with 100% certainty, that the original plan is something that many more people would have hated more than anything in life itself. I can't overstate that or understate that. I can't state that any more clear. After Gewirz's statement, the prevailing theory wouldn't have had Rhodes off the WrestleMania card entirely. selling a fictional injury, and getting a shot at the WWE Championship later down the line, but nothing was confirmed by the parties involved with the story. However, another wrench was thrown into the mix. Cody Rhodes was interrupted by World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. During the Royal Rumble match, CM Punk tore his tricep, leaving Seth Rollins without an opponent. So naturally, the idea was to insert Cody Rhodes in CM Punk's position so Rock vs. Roman can go on without a hitch. The problem was, in storyline, Cody Rhodes said that winning the World Heavyweight Championship wouldn't be finishing the story. Winning the World Heavyweight Championship would be outstanding. It would be amazing, said Rhodes during the WWE Money in the Bank 2023 press conference. It is the title on the flagship show Monday Night Raw. Absolutely matters, is important, and what Seth is doing with it is a special thing, and you're going to see that title mean far more in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes. Every second it gains equity. But finishing the story was always about winning the title my dad didn't get. Winning the World Heavyweight Championship is finishing a whole other story. On Friday's SmackDown show from Birmingham, Alabama, Cody Rhodes was announced to confront Roman Reigns to potentially make his WrestleMania decision. Earlier in the day, photos circulated of The Rock working out in the area that SmackDown was being held, bringing more speculation and discussion on what would happen on that night's show. Rhodes confronted Reigns and talked about coming for him and the WWE Championship, just not at WrestleMania. Rhodes continued as he took counsel from somebody on this decision. The Rock's music hit, Cody Rhodes and The Rock embraced, then Rhodes, looking despondent, left the ring alone to The Rock and Roman Reigns with a WrestleMania 40 kickoff event announced at the end of the show, teasing the confirmation of the match. Moments after the segment, Cody Rhodes reflected on his initial reaction to it. I have to believe, right? One thing you can lose is the faith of the fans. We've seen it tons of times. I have to believe I won't lose their faith. And there might be fans who are upset that I've been talking about this title for 2 years, and I haven't decided to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Brian Gewirtz recalled the initial workaround of the logic of Cody Rhodes not going for the championship. That was his established goal since Rhodes returned to WWE. It wasn't necessarily my idea, but we all sort of said, alright, this is where we're at, which is the story for Cody is to win the belt his father never won. It's not to beat Roman Reigns, and it's not to do it at WrestleMania. Now, obviously, that's the most ideal place to do it, and the best version of it. But the idea is that's his story, I need to win this belt. Not necessarily saying this is a good idea, but this is what we were left with, injuries and everything else, is that if Cody himself somewhat endorses this idea and paves the way for The Rock and Roman, and if it does it in a way competent kind of, I know what I'm doing everybody, and he tweeted that out, maybe that the audience will go along with it. I don't want there to be any ambiguity. It is nearly an impossible situation to put Cody in, because he can't be like he won the Showcase Showdown on The Price is Right. People would be like, that's effing insane. He would not be happy about this. If he's too morose, that also wouldn't be ideal, but certainly natural, but not ideal, so you're looking for the sweet spot of kind of steely confidence, and don't worry, Roman, I'm going to finish my story in the end. Cody and Rock did the segment. I will say it was a little bit more downtrodden than I was expecting watching from the audience, but again, it's an impossible position for Cody to be in. The idea that Gewirtz wanted from the segment was Cody Rhodes to come off like he was playing chess while Roman Reigns was playing checkers and everything would be okay. This is why I don't blame Cody, because Cody and Rock, I know, sidebarred on this, and the attitude was, I don't like the decision, but I understand. We're called Gewirtz. I understand the business that could be done here, so I'll go ahead as best I can do it. And he did it, and at the time, we certainly didn't think, oh my god, Cody ruined our brilliant creative, because all of us going into it were like, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see what happens. But for a second, it seemed fine, because the crowd in Birmingham popped big, Roman and Rock had their stare-off, everyone in Gorilla afterwards were like, great, we're on track. But then the vitriol came, and came hard and heavy and fast, understandable. Because again, I don't know necessarily the same vitriol would have happened if Cody did not win the Rumble. Certainly would come from some sections, but maybe not as massive, but it happened. The negative reaction was overwhelming. In a matter of days, the announcement of Rock vs. Roman Reigns became the most disliked video on WWE's YouTube page, amassing over 500,000 dislikes. On social media platforms, hashtag #WeWantCody was the #1 trend for 72 hours straight. But why did the audience turn on The Rock so suddenly? The short answer is perception. The week-to-week WWE audience saw Cody Rhodes go through the ringer, trying to get back to the mountain he was knocked off of. Meanwhile, The Rock joins the TKO board of directors and less than a week later places himself in the main event of WrestleMania. Majority of the fans wanted The Rock vs. Roman Reigns, cheered for the potential match to happen, but many of them didn't want to be at Cody Rhodes' expense, arguably the main protagonist WWE portrayed him to be on television. If Rock Roman happens any time and place, it's the biggest match of all time, says Levesque. But it's a testament to how big Cody was and how over Cody was and how much people were invested in him personally in this storyline. The Sunday after, The Rock saw two options: continue with the idea of Rock, Roman, or shift directions to something unexpected. I called Nick, Triple H, and I called Ari, recalled Rock. We can truck through this and put on this main event, and the majority of the world who don't watch WWE, that would be pulling in an execution of our marketing plan, etc., they're going to love this idea of Rock and Roman, and we're going to tell an amazing story. Hopefully, this is the first chapter of a few. We can do that. However, my gut says that I don't like, even if it's a segment of fans, I don't like that they're upset. And I knew this choice was mine. I knew we could truck through this main event, or we don't. I went with the latter, and I told those guys, here's what I think we should do. I believe go Roman, Cody, will Cody finish the story, and take care of those fans because it's critical and important. The Rock and Triple H went back and forth on creative now that Cody Rhodes' story was now back in the forefront. Is it a triple threat? A doubleheader main event? The answer came in conversation between The Rock and Brian Gewirtz. The solution was The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and the outcome of that match on WrestleMania Saturday would directly impact Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes on WrestleMania Sunday. But another question emerged. What's the tie-in for The Rock teaming up with his proposed opponent, Roman Reigns? I remember being in Hawaii, Rock stated, called Nick and Ari, and I said, now you're going to see Rock 10.0 as the final boss. And there was silence, and I'll never forget, Nick said, love it. Ari said, effing love it. Ari said, go for it. The final boss was a twist in the story that few in the audience thought would ever happen again. The Rock, the once people's champion, now the final boss. A combination of his well-known persona and his corporate persona, from not only as a callback to his villainous ways in the 90s, but as a reflection of his new board member status. The change was quite possibly the greatest pivot in WWE history, not only creatively, but monetarily as well. The ultimate win-win situation. The Rock's new persona gave him a new lease on life as a character, with the opportunity to create new stories while Cody Rhodes finishes his story against Roman Reigns. The WrestleMania Saturday main event featured The Rock and Roman Reigns defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, making the match between Roman Reigns vs. Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship a Bloodline Rules match, essentially a no disqualification match. After a myriad of interferences ranging from Solo Sikoa, John Cena, The Rock, and The Undertaker, Cody Rhodes pinned Roman Reigns to win the championship, the title his father never won, and finished the story. To this day, the fandom argues who was the rightful challenger to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. I have my own theory. WWE would have always gone with The Rock vs. Roman Reigns if given the option. However, scheduling and creative would always be drawbacks in penciling in The Rock as a confirmed participant to make the match happen. Going by the timeline, The Rock talked to Nick Khan in December 2021, early 2022 to discuss the possibility of a hypothetical matchup, but nothing was confirmed between both parties. While those all definitely played a factor, my theory is The Rock waited for the TKO WWE merger to come to pass in order to gain a spot on the board of directors, in order to present his vision and reap some of the benefits of being in the position, as a match between Roman and The Rock would incentivize business to do well based on the promotion for said matchup. But WWE still rolls on without The Rock, and had to move forward with telling stories on their weekly television show. And a large part of WWE was facing in 2022 was lacking top babyfaces that were connecting with the crowd in a major way in that point in time. Cody Rhodes, who recently left his place at All Elite Wrestling, WWE were hemorrhaging consistent full-time stars that could fill that position, and Cody fit like a glove. The creative shift from Vince McMahon to Paul Levesque presented the opportunity for more members of the roster to be front and center instead of relying on past names. Stars such as LA Knight, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins became organically over as a result, with Cody Rhodes leading the charge. With stars being built properly compared to the previous regime, there wasn't a heavy reliance on past names like Goldberg, Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar, and The Rock like there were in previous years. The Rock never waned from his proposed matchup, and despite the interest in the product being at a higher rate than it was prior, he decided to go forward with the original Rock-Roman idea. However, The Rock didn't expect Cody Rhodes to be as popular as he was, and took his guard down when alternative ideas were presented to make Cody the central protagonist. Add in the fact that the added perception of The Rock joining the TKO board of directors, inserting himself in the main event of WrestleMania, and it was bound to rub a majority of the fanbase the wrong way, though not intentional. The Rock was so focused on his own creative that he was blind by the change WWE was already having right in front of him. In situations like this, you can either adapt or perish, and thankfully, The Rock adapted and became the final boss. Do I think politics were at play during this whole situation? I think so. The Rock tried to steamroll his ideas in spite of the creative that was developed, and Cody Rhodes and Triple H navigated it to the result they intended to when Cody Rhodes' story was first concocted. However, it all worked out for everyone's benefit, in my opinion. When everyone thought there were two options, there was a third option that no one thought of until it presented itself. As The Rock would say, it doesn't matter what the true main event of WrestleMania 40 was, because in the end, everyone benefited from it, and that's what makes wrestling, wrestling. Thank you guys for checking this episode out on the pivot of WrestleMania 40, the invention of the final boss, Cody Rhodes getting the chance to finish his story at WrestleMania. New episodes every Tuesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to follow more content like this and short form content on present day wrestling stuff, at Retold Richie Mars on the Instagram and the TikTok. New content every day on TikTok. TTFN, ta-ta for now, and I'll see you on the next one.